Welcome to my class, student. It's class 8 English. It so happened, and this is chapter 3, the selfish giant, and this is session 1. In this we will going to read text. Now, what the name suggests, the title suggests, there is a giant. The story is about a giant. And what the adjective that is used? The adjective used is selfish giant. What type of giant is that? He was a selfish giant. And the story is about that selfish giant. Let's see the story. The story is written by Oscar Fingal playwright Wills Wilde. He was born on 16th October 1854 and he died on 30th November 1900. He was a prolific Irish writer and he had written plays, fiction, essays and poetry also. And this is Mr. Oscar Wilde. Now, the story starts. This story is about a giant and this is an introduction. As you know, before this real story starts, there is an introduction. The story is about a giant and giant's garden that was very beautiful and children loved to play in it. The giant, who was selfish, built a high wall round his lovely garden. Children did not enter the garden thereafter, nor did spring and summer, till the giant experienced a change of heart. So here you are seeing there is a change of heart in giant's life. First he was very selfish, but next at the end of the story his heart was changed. How this happened? Let's go through it. Every afternoon as they were coming from school, the children used to go and play in the giant's garden. See, garden and children very closely related to each other, because where there is garden you will find children. So the giant's garden was very beautiful. So all the children, after returning from the school, they used to go to the garden to play. It was a large, lovely garden with soft green grass. See the adjective that has been used? Lovely, large, lovely garden with soft green grass. See, this is a garden. It's a very large garden. Children are playing here. Soft grass is here and it's very lovely garden. So here you are seeing, when do children used to go? Every afternoon. Here and there over the grass stood beautiful flowers like stars. See, flowers are like stars. Everywhere you will find flowers. It was such a beautiful garden. And there were 12 peach trees that in the springtime broke out into delicate blossoms of pink and pearl. And in the autumn bore rich fruit. So, what is the characteristics of the peach trees? In springtime, there were delicate blossoms of pink and pearl, and in the autumn time, they bore rich fruit. And how many trees were there? 12 peach trees were there. The birds sat on the trees and sang so sweetly that the children used to stop their games in order to listen to them. Even birds were very happy in that garden. They used to sing beautiful song, and when they sang, children used to stop their game and listen to the birds. How happy we are here. They cried to each other. The children cried to each other. How happy they were there. They were very happy there. But their happiness didn't last long. The one day the giant came back. It was giant's garden. He had gone out to meet his friend. He stayed there for longer days, for many days. So In his absence, children used to play in the garden and they were very happy. But one day the giant came back. He had been to visit his friend, the cornice augur, and had stayed with him for 7 years. He was there in his friend's house for 7 years. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in the garden. So after 7 years, when he returned back, he found his garden was all occupied by the children. Children were playing there. "What are you doing here?" he cried in a very gruff voice. And the children ran away, because the children were in habit of listening to bird songs. Instead of bird song, when they heard a gruff voice and the question was there, "What are you doing here?" they were all scared and they ran away. See, the giant is here and he's asking the children, "What are you doing here?" Now, Cornish augur, a giant of Cornwall, that is in the UK, augur in legends and fairy stories, a cruel giant who eats people. So, who was the giant's friend? His friend was an augur who used to eat people, a very frightening person, and gruff, rough and surly. So, 7 years this giant was there with his friend who was an augur. So obviously his behavior would be like this. Now this is a giant, how he is thus threatening the children. Little children are there. After listening to his gruff voice, they all ran away. See, children are running away. "My own garden is my own garden," said the giant. "This is my garden and I am the owner of this garden. This is my own garden. Anyone can understand that, and I will allow nobody to play in it but myself. As this is my own garden, only I will play here. I will not allow anybody to play inside." So he built a high wall around it and put up a notice board. What was the notice board? "Trespassers will be prosecuted. Trespassers will be prosecuted if anyone dare to come inside. I will punish the person." So trespassers will be prosecuted. See, the giant is writing, "Trespassers will be prosecuted," and he has built a high wall round his garden, and this notice board is here. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Now, trespassers, those who enter somebody's land, property without his her permission and prosecuted, tried in a court of law. Here, punishment. The giant will punish anybody who try to enter his garden. He was a very selfish giant. Now you have also understood why that writer has said giant, a very selfish giant, because he didn't allow children to play in the garden, because the garden was his own and he had built a huge wall round it so that no one could enter it. The poor children had now nowhere to play. They tried to play on the road, but the road was very dusty and full of hard stones. In the garden they had soft grass, but here they had hard stones and they did not like it. Obviously, they were in habit of playing in a garden where there were peach trees, there were beautiful flowers, there was soft grass, and now on the road it was all dusty and without any grass. It was all full of hard stones, so they didn't like it. They used to wander around the high walls when their lessons were over and talk about the beautiful garden inside, because they couldn't see even the garden now. There was a huge wall, so always they used to talk about that. how happy we were there, they said to each other. See, earlier they used to say how happy we are here. Now they are saying how happy we were there. Because now the scene has been changed. Circumstances has been changed. So, what have we learned? We have learned about a beautiful garden, a selfish giant, many children who used to play in the garden, but the giant who was not there and who went to his friend's house, who was an ogre, who used to eat people, and he was very frightening person. So 7 years this giant was with that friend, and when he returned, what did he see? He found children playing in his beautiful garden. So he was very angry. He put up a notice board. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Anybody who would try to enter the garden would be punished. And what was the reason? The reason was that the garden belonged to him. So he was only the person who could play in the garden. Now, what was the condition of the children? They were very unhappy. They were very disappointed. They had no place to play. So they used to think about those beautiful days when they were there in the garden. And the notice board didn't allow the children to go inside. So this was the story, first part of the story. The next part, we will see what happened to the children, what happened to the giant, and what happened to the garden. The next session, I'll be here with the next part of the story. Till then, have a good revision of this, go through the story and try to say the story to your friends also, and don't be selfish. In the next class, we will meet again. Thank you.